Good morning. It is Monday, January 18th, 2021, and this is your gaming morning show, Morning Gaming News. First up, New York Times, and this comes from us from Zach Zwiesen of Kotaku. He talks about this recent New York Times piece that they ran on the front page, complaining that kids are playing too many video games during the pandemic. And I wanted to talk about this because I have multiple issues with this. Number one, this is not the 90s. We've learned a lot about video games, so don't run a piece on your front page about kids playing too many video games. Number two, don't run it during the pandemic, where video games are one of the only options for some kids, and have given kids an opportunity to socialize with their peers in ways they cannot do during the pandemic. So in the article, they they quote some experts presented a lot of, quote, scary numbers about screen time during the pandemic. They also spent time during the article to talk about a random small family that is currently struggling during the pandemic, and their son plays a lot of video games as a way to connect with his friends. His father and mother are concerned about how much time he spends in front of the screen, but also knows it's one of the few ways he has to safely socialize while COVID runs wild across the world. They at no point in the article talk about the social benefits of video games during the pandemic or anything like that, just the unhealthy and dangerous amounts of screen time for kids, and about how kids need to disconnect more. So, bad job, New York Times. Do better.
I had one very specific problem with this article. It was that they found a stock photo of kids playing a PlayStation, and that is the one that shows up when you tweet it out. It has a square TV, and it's clearly from like the late 90s. So I wish they would have found a different version. So
Ryan was not being generic. They are playing a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Literal PlayStation.
Yeah.
A PlayStation. With wired controllers, like they're some sort of caveman. Speaking of video games being dangerous, a man was fined $270 for breaking lockdown to play Pokemon Go.
Reasonable.
BBC reports a man in England, which is currently in lockdown. He attempted to curb his rampant infection. Oh no, it's talking about something else. He decided that Pokemon Go is more important, and so he broke quarantine and was caught and fined by local police. About $270, 200 of those little L things. No one knows what those are called.
So
200 pounds.
You're saying that this one person was out catching Pokemon Go, and so therefore the authorities caught them all?
all one of them.
Oh boy.
So if your nation is in lockdown, and you're addicted to Pokemon Go, stay home anyway.
Well, Copia said a fine worth getting. Copia, was this you? Be honest with us now.
This just in, Copia is fined $70 for breaking lockdown to play Pokemon Go. And during lockdown, other nations do it differently, I'm sure. But for us, when we were in more of a lockdown, we could still go out to go to the grocery store. Just play while you go to the grocery store.
Yeah, I think I was wearing a mask. Well, I mean, that's great. Thank you for doing that. Copia. Apparently, Copia is now admitting we need to get $270 to Copia's stat, please.
Copia, throw your PayPal username in the
Cash App,
chat.
whatever
Your
you're
Venmo.
using.
We'll get you taken care.
What's the exchange rate? Is it?
Hey, do you have any L's? Any of those L things, Mike? Last news story of the day. Sony has a new, and we've talked about this very briefly. They have a new studio based in San Diego. This is not the first party studio that the Sony San Diego studio, which is usually in development with MLB The Show and the like. But this is a new Sony-based studio in San Diego. It has been reported to us from Matt Purslow of IGN, that this studio is specifically going to be focusing on expanding upon existing franchises. And this is according to the LinkedIn profile of the studio's former head. So, what most people are taking that to mean is games like Uncharted that are established and those studios are ready to kind of move on to new IP, but they're not quite ready to let Uncharted die. That some of that work might be given off to this San Diego-based studio. So hopefully we'll hear more about any specifics of what they're working on soon, because an Uncharted 5 would be a welcomed game in my opinion, and it won't be exclusive to Xbox like the Indiana Jones game. Not that I'm upset.
Not at all.
And always, last but never least, we finish off today's Gaming Morning Show Morning Gaming News with the world-renowned segment within a segment where we take a look at what is out today. We have Spinny's Journey out on Switch, Red Colony out on Switch, and for the most prestigious award in video game focused morning shows, your favorite segment within a segment, today's Name of the Morning goes to Olympic Table Tennis out on Switch.
Wow. It's one of your most generic
Yeah.
name of the mornings ever.
It was an interesting morning of names.